What is up, Mets fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Mets'd podcast, episode number 98, presented by the 7 Line. What a nice little series it ended up being out in LA. Everyone was very, very worried about how we were going to look against the Los Angeles Dodgers. And to be fair, the first 2 games of the series we lost and we were going, maybe people were right. But no, the Mets came back, won the last 2 of the series. We split in Los Angeles, which I feel like we haven't been able to do in a really long time. Me and James have been watching the games. We are super excited to talk to you guys, especially after that crazy exciting Game 4. Before we do get going into everything, though, make sure you guys are following us on all our social media at Mets'd, Twitter and Instagram, as well as the YouTube channel Mets'd Podcast. There will be a YouTube video this time. We have good internet. The boys are in studio together in the office. We're ready to go, so you should have a video for you on the YouTube channel. If you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you listen, download the podcast, follow us, subscribe, whatever it is. Drop us a rating, drop us a review as well. It really does help us out. And without further ado, let's bring in James.
What's up?
Long time no see.
Yeah, right. Good series.
Great series. We haven't clapped it up in a while, but it really was, especially considering how it started. But we'll talk about that later. Let's talk about the good stuff because Game 3 and 4, the Mets came out and they swung the bats well, they pitched well, and particularly in Game 4, it feels like everybody made an impact.
Absolutely. We got to start with Game 4 because last game of this series on Sunday was one of the more intense Mets games I can remember in recent memory whatsoever.
I haven't been pacing like I was in this game. It feels like in a long time. Like, granted, there have been some tight Mets games this year, but this one, from pitch 1, it felt like we were like on edge watching this intently.
This was the first Mets game that had this type of intensity since even before the pandemic, 2019, when they got hot in that second half a little bit and actually made us think they could sneak into the playoffs for half a second. This was the most intense Mets game, the most like keyed in. Even personally, I've been to a Mets game in a long time.
It had playoff atmosphere.
It did.
It had a playoff
in June.
Vibe in June, which is really good. And I think you can look forward to these guys playing each other probably at some point in the playoffs as long as everything continues to go well for these Mets. And like we said, from the start of the game, it was kind of just raring to go. It didn't feel great at the start when we saw Trey Turner take a pitch deep in his first at-bat.
Yeah, a little spiteful move from Turner here, hitting a home run the day after we killed his, 26-game hit streak.
Yeah, literally his first at-bat after not getting the hit streak continued. Nice shot to left field. And when we saw that, I went, maybe this is going to be the game where Trevor Williams finally gets shelled, but no, he settled in really nicely.
Yeah, Trevor Williams was really good. Going up just against Julio Urias, who's one of the better young pitchers in all of baseball, against the Dodgers, who have one of the best lineups in all of baseball. That's what probably gave most Mets fans pause, probably made some people a little nervous. I didn't even think, wasn't Cookie scheduled to start this game?
You know, that's what I thought.
Like, as of last night, he was on the schedule. But I don't know if that was different for the Mets internally, but I think he was expected. But Williams was awesome. He showed up against the Dodgers. He threw 50%, 90-mile-an-hour fastballs and just got people out.
Which has kind of been his thing, I feel like, all year. You watch Trevor Williams pitch and you don't really understand why it works. I mean, I can't believe he got 5 strikeouts. The Dodgers have one of the best lineups in baseball. Not an easy one to strike out by any means.
5 strikeouts in 5 innings. And the only damage was that Trey Turner home run in the first. He scattered a few other hits. I kind of shit myself when he was left in there for the 5th inning to face Mookie, Freeman, and Trey for the 3rd time, but he got them out. And I kind of think something that was big for Williams. I didn't notice this before, but his slider kind of showed up today. It was a really, really good-looking pitch. I got 5 whiffs on 7 swings. Looked gross at times.
Well, I remember at one point during this game, I don't know to who it was, but he threw one, and we're like...
Trey, I think in the 5th inning, that bad.
Yeah, and we're like, hey, throw more of those, because he's been throwing this curveball that I think has probably been his more used pitch than the slider in the past. And even in Colorado, I mentioned, I was like, stop throwing this pitch. It just hangs. Trey Turner caught that hanging curveball early on in the game. But like you said, yeah, that slider is really solid, and I would like to see Trevor Williams maybe use it a little bit more in lieu of that curveball not being as sharp sometimes.
Definitely, but overall, his effectiveness has been a really, really, really big deal for this team.
Oh, it's been huge. It's been massive. The fact that he's been able to take over this spot for whether it's Max Scherzer or Tyler McNeil, whichever way you want to put it, and come out every 5 days, give us basically 5 innings, and keep us in the game against a perennial offense. I mean, this lineup top to bottom, I don't think we can stress how good it is. The top 3 hitters are MVP, basically, like all MVP players. We talked about, me and you were saying, Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman are Hall of Famers. And
Probably.
Trey Turner's probably going to be one if he continues playing like this.
There's a chance he is. If you had to set up any, 3 consecutive hitters in baseball, I think all 3 of these guys are at least in the top 10, top 12 of your selections.
Yeah, like everyone's picking Mike Trout. You're probably picking Juan Soto too. But these guys are right on the fringe.
And then, even guaranteed, definitely better than those guys. Probably then Vlad, Acuna, Probably
Tatis.
kind of Tatis. Yeah, I guess.
Jordan. But look, think of the guys we're talking about.
But
right
like
now.
it's hard to even name 5 guys better than any of those 3.
Yeah, no, they're absolutely disgusting. And the fact that they hit 1, 2, 3 in that lineup is insane.
Yeah, and just the fact that you have to make that decision every single time that lineup turns back over, which was something that we'll talk about more in Game 3 and the other games of the series. But it's difficult when this thing flips and you have to see those 3 guys again. You're like, I can't even imagine getting out of this without damage. But Trevor Williams is able to get through them. And really, his effectiveness is a big deal for this Mets team right now.
And like we said, it kept us in the game because even though it was 2 runs early, that was it that we saw from Trevor Williams. And the Mets kind of chipped away. We got a run by the Starling Marte home run, who is just scalding hot. I don't know what's gone on since Starling Marte has come back, but he looks like a completely new player. He's hitting the ball in the air, and it's great.
7th home run of the year for Marte. His career high is 23, and that was with the rabbit ball in 2019. So on pace to beat that number in a completely different run environment. And with that, you kind of think the power might be real because he's running a career high fly ball rate, like about 29% right now, which it's not like significantly higher. Last year, I think he was running about 22, and like he's always been kind of those mid to low 20s. But even just pushing 30% for him is a major milestone. And him with a little bit more power, because he's always hit the ball hard, he's just always on the ground. The fact that maybe the Mets have actually done something internally to help him lift it, help him drive it more consistently, that changes his entire complexion as a player as he enters his mid-30s.
Him being in that 2-hole feels a whole lot better when he has the ability to hit for power like he has shown. He's been so instrumental with this team's success over the last month. He's been fantastic, and it really, I love that kid who tweeted me that Starling Marte tweet about, oh, thank God he's on the Mets, and he had a 600 OPS at the time at the beginning of the month of May, and right now I think he's right around 800, if not over it.
I don't know. I don't track OPS like you.
It's great. He's just playing really well. That's all we need to know.
And this was the only thing we got against Julio Urias. We were looked like we were putting the bat in the ball a little bit in the first inning. He had Brandon Nimmo's number.
Yeah, he did.
Besides his third at bat, he had a very nice line drive with men on, but that was really all we did against Julio Urias, who just throws curveballs in awkward spots every single pitch, seemingly.
And the Mets do struggle with curveballs. We've known this for years now.
But everyone struggles with curveballs. Curveballs are really hard pitch to hit. That's why they throw them so often now.
And then we're going to pick this up in the 8th, because this is kind of where it really started to heat up here. Mets were still down 2-1. We start the inning off, though, with the horrible, terrible shortstop that nobody wants on their team, Francisco Lindor. And shocker, because Francisco Lindor is good, in case you didn't catch the sarcasm there, double, followed up by Pete, who hit another double, get a run, make it 2-2, and the Mets are starting to cook right now here.
Starting to cook, and you get that kind of monkey off your back immediately. It's the 8th inning of this game, you're losing. I believe Bruce Dark-Gratterall is already in the game.
I think this was
pitched
Bruce
the inning
Dar,
before. And the Dodgers just throw all these relievers at you. You don't know who they are, and they all just do incredible things with their arms. But you get the monkey off your back immediately. The game is tied. Your 2 best hitters did that, and now you have a situation where it's kind of house money. You're like, now we have a man a second, nobody out. We got to scratch one across. And J.D. Davis, really good professional piece of hitting. I think Keith broke out in a half chub.
Yeah.
Hit a ground ball to second base and moved the runner to third. Didn't try to do too much.
What'd I say? He was bricked up. He was full torque.
Yeah.
Like he was, when he saw J.D. Davis take the ball to the right side, give up it out, essentially a sacrifice hit, even though it wasn't because he still was swinging the bat. That was good baseball.
Yes.
That is good baseball, especially in a tie game against the Dodgers when it's going to be super, super tight like we know. That was big, followed up by a can of hit by pitch on a 2-2 count, which was also huge.
Yes.
And then Escobar, so close. I thought it was gone. I thought it was gone off the bat, but the sac fly will take it.
Something I don't want to get lost in the fold here. I thought this is where you were going when you were going, This wasn't a crazy at-bat from Eduardo Escobar.
Oh, it was fantastic.
To get a sac fly. I think 10 pitches in total, 4 consecutive foul balls. Just really, really impressive from a guy who's been struggling, who's kind of been, better-ish, but I mean, I'm just saying the guy who's kind of becoming like the scapegoat on Mets Twitter right now for why the lineup has been struggling. It's been a big Escobar's face. And you also had an at-bat a couple innings before this where he struck out with men on.
Yeah.
And you had a situation where you kind of love Marcana being up with a guy in third in less than 2 outs because he always takes such good at-bats. And you get terrified when you have a guy like Bruce Dark-Gratterall facing Eduardo Escobar, who's been blown away by fastballs on occasion this year. So to see him clutch up, get the go-ahead run in, you got to think that really feels good for the vet.
Was absolutely huge. And then the last insurance one that we got there, which was unexpected by all means, Tomas Nido playing some really, really good baseball lately, walking, putting the ball in play, huge insurance run for us.
And I mean, Tomas Nido knows the speed of the pitch coming in, he's just swing at it, hit it. It's easy.
No, he's much improved and seems like he's taking advantage of the additional playing time since James McCann has gone down, which we saw a little bit too last year when he started to get a little more playing time.
That's kind of true.
It's a very, I want to say,
it's a delicate balance.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance with Tomas Nido because he's not an everyday catcher by no means, but he's done a great job thus far.
And the team loves him.
They do love him. He's a very good defensive catcher.
Now it gets interesting, though. because now the Mets have taken a 4-2 lead, kind of against all odds. The Mets only had one run on a solo home run coming into that inning against a very talented Dodgers bullpen. We're talking about now since we're picking this series up at the end rather than the beginning, but we used a lot of relievers on Saturday night. So the bullpen was taxed. Drew Smith was certainly not available, going 2 innings the night before. Adam Ottavino had already pitched in this game in the 6th inning because
he came in after Trevor Williams.
Yeah, came in right after Trevor Williams.
Nogosek was used.
Holderman
was used the night before.
Didn't throw that many pitches. He might have been available, but kind of seemed like he hasn't. Even though we only threw 5 pitches the night before, he's just been pitching a lot, it seems like, recently.
Yeah.
I don't remember if he pitched on Friday. I think he pitched on Thursday.
He definitely pitched twice this series.
Yes. So, see, there weren't a lot of options. So you had Seth Lugo, who had pitched the night before, but didn't throw that many pitches, and the Mets have seemingly become more comfortable with him pitching on back-to-back days more recently. And you had Edwin Diaz, who has yet to pitch in this series, because the Mets lost the first 2 games, kind of non-competitively, and they won by a good margin. As Gary Cohen said, destroyed the Dodgers, crazily.
It was crazy before the game. I've never seen Gary be like that aggressive.
And he said that just as SNY showed the slow motion, frame by frame of a bird just annihilating a moth, on the railing at Dodger Stadium. Really weird pregame set, but funny to talk about that. So you have these 2 guys to pitch. And the 8th inning, you have due up Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Trey Turner, the gauntlet, if you will. 3 of the 10 best hitters in baseball you have to face consecutively. And after that, we don't know what's going to happen. And we saw Edwin Diaz warm up as the Mets got through the 8th.
Which, that's smart baseball. That's something that me and you have been screaming to the mountains for, is that while the idea of a traditional closer is still very much in baseball,
especially with this Mets team,
especially
with usage of Edwin.
But this is something that we've seen the Rays do. This is something that we've seen the Brewers do. Whenever you have the heart of the order, truly what is really the save situation, of course it's not traditionally the save, but who do you want facing Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Trey Turner? It shouldn't matter if it's the 8th or the 9th inning. Those are the 3 best hitters, and who's our best arm out of the pen? It's clearly Edwin Diaz. So I personally love that move. I know you like that move as well. Mets Twitter, though, especially with what happened later in the game, kind of flip-flopped a little bit.
Well, it's kind of funny because the second Edwin Diaz got through this 8th inning cleanly, people were like, Buck Showalter managerial victory. This is the best move Buck has made all year. This guy continues to push all the right buttons. I'm not saying he doesn't push a lot of the right buttons, but people, when the game was still going on, when the Dodgers still had 3 outs to go, were exalting the Mets.
If you guys were watching our Twitters, neither me or James tweeted about that right after the game because we go, there's 3 more outs. We've seen this too many times. The Dodgers are too good to say you won in the 8th inning. That doesn't really happen with them.
And at the time, I didn't really know, no one really knew if this was going to be Edwin Diaz for a 2nd inning for a 6-out save or if you're going to use Lugo on back-to-back nights, which are 2 things that the Mets have shown they don't really want to do either of them at all this year.
No.
So I guess it was kind of a toss-up at the time. And I do think that this was the plan, that Buck Showalter, Jeremy Hefner, the plan was that Edwin Diaz is pitching the 8th because he wants to get the top of this Dodgers order out. He got him out very easily.
Which he did. He was
10 pitches. He looked great.
Dominant. He's so sick.
Chin music to Mookie Betts and dropped the slider on his ass.
Messed up to see 100 literally at your eyes and then a slider on the outside corner that you're like, oh, fastball. Oh, never mind. It's not there.
But nevertheless, this was a good modern decision by Buck Showalter and the Mets pitching staff. It showed very good process. The only issue was the execution.
Yes, because in the 9th, as we know, Seth Lugo comes into the game and immediately gives up a home run to Will Smith.
Immediately.
Throwing the sinker, which we can't wrap our head around it. Even watching the game, you can see the difference between the sinker and the four-seam, and you go, one of them is a really, really good pitch, and the other one is kind of like a lazy, I hope I can drop it in there and steal a strike, which, why would you ever throw that when you have such a good fastball like Seth Lugo?
And also, you can kind of pick that sinker up, I feel like, easily for these hitters, because it doesn't look a lot like the fastball or the curveball. I feel like it plays off the slider, which also doesn't seem to be that good of a pitch, yet Lugo threw tons of sinkers and sliders in this poor outing. That sinker to Will Smith was right in the middle of the plate. Yeah, very easy to hit.
It dropped in an outside sinker when you don't have a plus sinker like that. Just falls into the middle of the plate if you miss. And I don't understand the thought process behind that.
A lot of these Dodgers, not the ones who are elite, a lot of these Dodgers who are still just good, are kind of all happen to be low ball hitters. Will Smith can't hit a high pitch. We've seen Will Smith hit high pitches. But that's just. These are very good players, and a sinker that, while it does have good velocity and slightly above average movement profile, it's nothing compared to what his four-seam fastball and curveball can do in tandem. And it didn't look like he really did have the best feel for the curve or the fastball. He wasn't placing many of them at all, but he really leaned on that sinker. Like I say, threw 7. Second most thrown pitch in this inning. And right when Will Smith hit that home run off the sinker, you did not feel good about Lugo getting through this.
No, it didn't feel great. He did get 2 quick outs right after that, though, which was nice. But then Chris Taylor comes to the plate, and kind of the same thing like Mookie Betts earlier in this series, he throws a curveball that hung massively, and Chris Taylor hit what I thought was a home run off the bat.
Everyone did because the SNY camera guy lost the ball. There were a lot of the sun was very active in this game. You saw Mookie Betts and Starling Marte both struggle in right field with the sun. And by this point at the end of the game, there were a lot of shadows in left field where Chris Taylor hit the moonshot foul ball. But they kind of lost the tilt of the ball, lost the path of the ball, and you just saw a ball go into the stands as Marcano looked at it, and you were like, I don't know.
Yeah, we had no clue.
The umpires didn't even really know.
My roommate stood up and screamed, and I was like, no screaming yet. We don't know what this call is. It was very much a foul ball.
Yes.
It wasn't even really close, actually. But it made us get out of our seats a little bit. Got him all the way to 0-2, and then Chris Taylor does what Chris Taylor does, and that's just battle and battle and battle. And then he, hung another curveball to him, and he just hit it down the line for a double.
He threw 3 straight balls after it went down 0-2, a couple close pitches, one either fastball or slider that was way outside, completely missed. And then he fouled off 2 straight sinkers that got a lot of plate, and then he just put a curveball low middle, got the play. I don't know if that was the intention, if he didn't want to walk him. I told you this, that I didn't even think in that situation a walk to Chris Taylor would be very bad because if Chris Taylor's standing on first base, there's a good chance he will get to second base and a steal, but you're not assuming that. Eddie Alvarez is on deck. Eddie Alvarez, I can't even... How many extra base hits do you think he has in the last 100 games played?
Three. And I mean, probably there against the Mets, if anything.
Right, yeah. So basically a situation where if Chris Taylor's on first base, there's still a very low likelihood that the game becomes tied. So you almost should... And he's a guy who does chase a decent amount. This is probably the one hole in Chris Taylor's games that he will go outside and fish a little bit. So to put 3 straight balls in the heart of the plate on a 3-2 count...
With not your best pitch, too, the sinker, like that.
And then the curveball, though. He did end with the curveball, the best pitch. But again, we don't know if this was the plan. Seth Lugo was having some struggle with command in this inning. But just seeing those 3 pitches drop in, get good with on all 3, lace a double, and Eddie Alvarez also getting a pitch on the plate, immediately hitting a single, it was deflating.
And then you saw the conversation switch to Buck botched this, to which I'll defend Buck on this one.
This was a great move by
didn't.
Buck.
Seth Lugo has to get out Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah.
Chris Taylor, he's going to get hits. He's a good hitter. Eddie Alvarez... It has a career average of 160.
And also giving up a home run to Will Smith, that's just poor execution. That's also, there's a lot that goes into poor execution, but the process here was completely sound. With a couple listeners tweet at me, process still good after this play, which is good. Because I just hope that now the Mets don't go into an reverse analytic shell here and start bastardizing the process.
Yeah, because I think that really was the right move to make. 100%.
I think totally. It's just execution.
What would the Rays do? I think they would do that.
I think so too. And if Mookie Betts is going to face any Mets pitcher, I would rather it be Edwin Diaz first.
For sure.
But for anybody else.
Yeah, one of the nastiest pitchers in the entire league, or Seth Lugo. I don't know who I'm picking.
And it's funny how this played off of, we're going to talk about in a few minutes, but the decision on Saturday night, which was only in the 4th inning, when Mookie Betts had found his way to the plate for the 3rd time in the game. As Mark mentioned before, he had a ridiculous foul ball off of a David Peterson. I think it might have been the slider.
It was just something that hung.
Whatever. A pitch on the plate. And it took this one foul ball for Buck to make the data-driven decision and not let Mookie Betts see David Peterson for a 3rd time with men on base. I could just imagine that people in the Mets R&D department were standing up screaming at the TV thank you.
They gave the high five.
Bang. High five. Yeah. Yes! We did it.
We did it. Buck listened, or Buck understands, because it did seem like he figured out the plan here a little bit. Of course, it's a little bittersweet. Even though the Mets win this game, it's now going to start this whole conversation of, Lugo in the 9th, he's our 8th inning guy. I can't wait to hear Sal Licata or John Jastrzemski talk about something that's nonsense. Oh, God. Jeez, absolute nonsense of Diaz is a closer. He's got to pitch the 9th. What, are we crazy?
Oh, we should try to tune into the Yastrzemski Licata hour in SNY.
God, we don't want to get dumber though. That's the thing. I like my level of intelligence. I don't want to decrease it.
Content's content.
Content is maybe that could be a little fun thing we do one day. We watch Sal Licata and John Jastrzemski just talk about the Mets on a live stream.
What the hell? What are they talking about? Wrong.
Incorrect. Where are they going? Anyway. He couldn't get Eddie Alvarez out. That was the whole thing. We go to the 10th inning.
Game's still tied. You didn't lose.
Didn't lose.
Mark said that loud. Just ended. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I did say that. I was mad. I was perturbed. I was angry. Especially because Craig Kimbrell was in the game and we just don't touch him. Historically, I mean, he's one of the better relievers that we've seen in the last 10, 15 years.
Statistically, one of the best relievers ever.
Yeah, and especially against the Mets, it feels like we never have any success against him. But we have that runner on second.
And the irony here is that he had a very clean 9th inning.
Yeah, he did.
And they sent it back out for the 10th because in a 4-game series, Dodgers bullpen was also taxed. And immediately, not that sharp. First, second, third pitch of the inning, J.D. Davis laced a single.
No double.
Well, it was a single that kind of caught Chris Taylor in a short hop, similar to how Marcano got caught in a short hop earlier in the game. Got kind of around him. That's the best way to describe that ball. Pete scored easily. JD slides in the second. You're like, holy crap. We already got a lead. And it's like the inning just started. Man on second, nobody out.
Yeah, and then there was a strikeout, I believe.
I believe Canna had a rough at bat.
Yeah,
a couple nasty sliders.
Yeah, we were like, wow, that was a bad Mark Canna at bat. Like,
it's also Craig Kimbrell.
Yeah, it's also Kimbrell. He was nasty. And then we had the line out.
Escobar
to shortstop. He did hit it hard, but JD was caught in the middle of the baseline in between second and third. Double play. And that was kind of like, ooh.
Only one.
Don't really like that. We just went from replacing the guy on second base with no outs to we got doubled up.
And the booth was actually having a small argument during, I think it was JD's at bat, because Keith was like, need some more smart baseball from JD. Got to get a run in. Ronnie and Gary were like, got to play for at least 2 here. Yeah. 1 run is not, ironically, 1 run's probably not getting against the Dodgers. But, I mean, who are we to say that? Because we have relief ace, the Adonis Medina, ready for the 10th inning against a couple scrubs.
Pirates and former Pirates.
Yes.
Owning the Dodgers. Trevor Williams, former Pirate, nasty today. Adonis Medina, former Pirate, nasty today.
Jason Shreve had a scoreless inning on Saturday.
There we go. Starling Marte, home run. Oh, man, look at the Pirates own Los Angeles. I think that's what we're learning today, especially after that sweep. But, man, Adonis Medina versus the top of the order. I don't think I would have ever made the bet that he would have done as well as he did.
I was praying to leave with a tie game, but got Mookie, hit a very intense fly ball. He got Freddie Freeman to a nice ground ball to the right side, and then all you got to do is get Trey Turner out after that.
Yeah, but we had a little drama because this series had a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Trey Turner, catcher's interference on... Listen, catcher's interference I think is a good rule in practice, but it's also stupid when you can literally take a purposely late swing. You can extend your arms all the way back, swing, catch the catcher on a pitch you were never going to swing at, and just get first base like Trey Turner did.
And I also didn't know that you could get catcher's interference on a pitch that you technically didn't swing at. I guess the bylaws that you offer so you can say I intended to swing at it,
but he stopped.
Which is bullshit.
Yeah,
which is dumb because if you watch that swing, Trey Turner basically got saved by the catcher's glove because it would have been like a check swing that would have just nicked off the bat and rolled to first base for the end of the game.
Yep. But so he got to first base.
Stole second
because
Trey Turner.
Sick.
Yeah.
He's awesome. Ball don't lie, though. We faced Will Smith, who obviously hit the home run in the 9th inning. Little nervous. Not feeling great. Adonis Medina. But he ends up getting him out with a nasty little sequence of pitches. And we win the game with Adonis Medina getting a save. Yeah, he struck him out. I mean, really impressed with Adonis Medina. Someone who we've said looks better than we expected. And this game, talk about big old balls for Adonis Medina. My God. Cojones grandes.
And also just crazy irony because Trey Turner literally took the bat out of his own hands in a situation where his team was losing. And
with remain on third.
Yes, and 2 outs. There is an argument to whether or not he should have been even intentionally walked in the situation. If it was someone not Trey Turner, I would have been much more inclined to do it because he's going to steal second base, and he did. So a single from Will Smith would have won the game there, but Trey Turner is literally one of the best hitters in all of baseball, and he argued to get on base rather than to hit for a guy, Will Smith, to come up, who is very good, hasn't been up to, I think, his standards this year, but is very good. And he got out. And the Mets wound up winning a game while Trey Turner stood on second base.
Which ultimately makes us split the series. Now, as you guys know, we're going to still talk about the other games here. It was just Game 4 was hot. You guys know, especially with the 4-game series.
Yeah.
We like to roll with what's hot. And Game 4 was hot. Let's talk about the other one, though.
Yes.
Game 3. Because after Game 1 and 2, which were snooze fests.
Terrible.
Honestly, they were just bad baseball games for the Mets. We woke up, which was nice, especially getting to start with that Lindor first inning home run.
Yes. And after the first 2 games, there wasn't a lot of skies falling rhetoric, but there was some of Mets are being exposed rhetoric, scoring 1 run in 2 games off of Dodgers pitching. The only run being a Pete Alonso solo home run, which shouldn't even count because if he's not getting a home run in 4 games, something else has gone wrong. But Lindor coming back and hitting a home run right away off Walker Buehler, things felt different. It felt like the Mets were engaged and ready, and they were of the same caliber as the Dodgers and ready to share the field with them.
Yeah, I mean, for a guy, Francisco Lindor, who has the highest F4 among all National League shortstops in Major League Baseball, which I don't know. I heard this guy stinks. I heard he stinks.
I've been told. He also makes a lot of money.
Yeah, makes a lot of money, so he's not very good. On the year, 9 homers, 45 RBIs. He's even stole 7 bases, which is the most quiet 7 steals ever.
7 for 8 as well.
Yep. 259 average, 341 on base, 789 OPS. If you're looking at his career numbers, they're about the exact same, and basically, we know that the start of this year
lower average
was a little bit lower because of the baseballs being different. Now that the balls seem to be flying a little bit more again, we're seeing Lindor's numbers go back up, and he's just basically exactly what we traded for.
Heading into the game today, I was just looking at this. I was doing some just general Fangraph scrolling, like I try to do most days. Francisco Lindor, if the season ended today, would have had the highest WRC plus of his entire career, including a 40 home run season.
Nah, but he stinks though.
He's terrible.
He's awful. You don't want this guy on your team. He's got nothing. It's great to see him playing good baseball because he's a good player, and we're big Francisco Lindor fans here. We are not a Lindork.
No, he's quite good. No Lindorks. No Lindorks allowed.
But David Peterson, as he kind of does, wasn't that sharp.
He was also not that bad. The issue was that the floodgates opened the second inning on a ground ball to Pete. Should have been a double play ball. I forgot who was running, but it was probably fast because almost every Dodger
I think it was Hanser Alberto.
That sounds right. I was going to guess Taylor.
One of those guys.
Yeah. Ground ball to Pete. Could have been an easy double play ball. He just sailed to throw the second. Inning stayed alive. Peterson, someone who we've seen kind of be sullen after misplays in the field before. Not that I noticed any of that this time, but it's something that has affected his game in the past. Inning goes on. Gives a big bases clearing double to Mookie Betts. 4 runs in because 1 scored in the error. And now suddenly, after a first inning home run, a game you felt like you needed to win, you're down 4-1 in the second inning on an error. And the guy didn't pick him up, and things felt bad.
But the Mets do that thing where they answer right back. And I feel like, especially knowing the context of being down 0-2 in this series already, with the murmurs of this team's really not that good, here come the Mets that we all knew were eventually going to come. This is huge. This was huge. And it gets started with Patrick Mazeika, who works a fantastic walk, because I don't really know what to think about Patrick Mazeika, but he seems to make something happen every time he's on the field.
He's a good ball player.
I think that's what it is. He's just a good ball player.
And it seems like he has been pushed out of a 50-50 share with Nido to more of a 70-30.
Which is fine.
This week, I think Mazeika only played once.
Yeah, I mean, especially with lefties on the mound, he will never face a lefty.
Because Nido played he might have played Thursday, I don't remember. But Nido played all 3 games in the Washington series, and then he played at least 3 games in this series.
Yeah, but this was a good little walk for Mazeika here, which got the inning started.
And he was down 1-2. Took some tough pitches against a very good pitcher in Walker Buehler. And to be the 9-hitter and be able to draw that walk, that's like the epitome of a cat and mouse game. And getting on first base with the top of the order behind him, Mets top of the order that has been scorching hot all year long, very, very big.
Yep. Nimmo walked. Another great at bat because Nimmo was a beast. And then Starling Marte, who's been hot, like we said, double, which was huge. Lindor got a ground ball. And then, of course, it all culminated with that big Meet Pete Donger. He's so good. He's literally in the MVP conversation right now.
Literally, of course, he's in the MVP conversation. He has the most home runs and RBIs in the National League. That sounds like an MVP. MVP. Keep saying it. This ball was like not the easiest pitch to homer. It was like kind of low, a little bit outside, I believe. Went down and got the barrel on it and just flung it out to left field.
No, Pete was
those tiny Dodger fences.
He owns Dodger Stadium, by the way. I think he has 7 home runs in 11 games there, or might be 7 in 12 now because of Game 4. But pretty good record for Pete Alonso in Los Angeles.
And this is insane because the Mets, Pete Alonso had just made an error. He got his team. I'm not gonna say he got his team down 4-1, but he opened up a situation where they ended up being down, coming off 2 straight losses, and you put a 4 spot right back on these guys after they put one on you, and you knock Walker Buehler out of this game in the 3rd inning and get to that Dodgers bullpen.
Walker Buehler looked like he saw a ghost.
He did. That fastball's not getting swings and misses right now. I don't know what's going on with him.
He just doesn't have a lot of juice on anything. Nothing particularly looked Walker Buehler-esque.
No, I mean, he's a young guy. He's pitched a lot the last few years. Big workload between even college, going through all the COVID stuff. I don't know how the throwing program worked for guys who came up that year. Workhorse the last 2 innings. We've talked a lot about how consistently he was able to go 6 and 7 last year.
Yeah.
One of the most consistently in all of baseball. His wear and tear, his fatigue. These guys are still young. They've played a lot of baseball as Dodger team the last few years, and they only have 27% of a World Series to show for it.
Yeah, that is true. They did not win a full World Series. Forgot about that. I almost forgot that they won a fraudulent series.
27%. It's more than the Mets have won World Series.
Yeah, but
it's almost half a World Series.
It's a little over a quarter.
It's over a quarter of a World Series. It's basically the amount of games we played this year that determined the World Series champion.
Oh my God, that's actually hilarious.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Peterson then came back and actually gave us exactly what I thought we needed, and I really thought this was going to push him through the game. He gave us a clean inning against the heart of the order, which is so big, shutdown innings after a rally.
He already had 60 pitches at this point.
Well, yeah, he's nibbling. He loves to get 3-2 or 2-2, it feels like, on everybody, and foul balls too.
Still, I'm going to defend what Peterson did in this game overall. Like, he didn't get out of the 4th inning, so you can't really call this like a very good start overall, but I guess we'll talk about the way he got taken out of the inning once I just talk about his game in general. 3 2/3, 2 hits, 4 walks, 6 Ks, but just 1 earned run. All those 3 unearned runs. It would have been nice if he didn't let those in, but only 3 hard hit balls this whole outing. He got 11 whiffs, 7 of them on his slider, which is becoming a legitimate out pitch.
Yeah.
Guys were swinging through, and he wasn't even really able to place it very consistently. It was just moving so well that when he was able to put it in the right spot, a couple even he left over the plate, guys just swung through it. It's becoming a very good pitch. And the command is rough, but the fact that Peterson's stuff is now good enough to at least get him through a Dodgers lineup, a scary Dodgers lineup twice, and only give up 3 hard hit balls, this is a good thing. And there was a lot of stress and there was a high pitch count, but a lot of that was bred from the Pete Alonso error. If Pete didn't make that error, this could have been like a legit 5 or 6 inning start for Peterson, where he had 6 or 7 strikeouts against this Dodgers lineup. And this development from him is a really, really, really big deal and is helping the Mets so much during this stretch without deGrom and Scherzer.
I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't feel great about how Peterson pitched, and I kind of felt like we were almost taking a step backwards. Like we've seen him step up at some point this year and like look good and give us what we need. And if I was just a little bit disappointed, but now hearing a little bit of deeper numbers, I feel better.
And the irony is that this is a game that could have gotten away from Peterson and could have been one of those snowball games where things went wrong. And that is all because Mookie Betts came up in the 4th inning with men on. Would have been the 3rd time he's seen him, and we all know the stats for basically every single hitter and every single pitcher in baseball. The 3rd time someone sees somebody else, things get very, very easy for the hitter. And he came in, mentioned this a couple minutes ago, laced a foul ball.
Do you remember what I texted you when this was coming up? I said, this is a huge mistake.
Yeah, I think I responded, I agree.
Yeah, you're like, what? And then you texted me, you're like, thank God we got him out of there because that foul ball was scary. That foul ball was like, and I think Buck, like we said earlier, even went, oh yeah, no.
This shouldn't be happening.
It almost like woke him up like, oh yeah, wait, this is Mookie Betts against David Peterson, one of the best hitters in baseball, going up against a lefty he crushes.
But you felt it because Buck was really trying to nurse him through this inning because he had like 90-ish pitches at the time. Yeah. Not that you wanted him to throw another inning, but it's just like it's kind of embedded in old baseball minds. Like we have to get this guy through as much as we can and save the bullpen. But it's so rare to see a guy taking out of a game in the middle of an at-bat. It's kind of, I think, probably a little bit embarrassing for the pitcher.
Did you see his reaction?
I was tracking on my phone. It was out and about.
He was not happy.
I can't imagine he was.
I don't want to say he gave Buck lip because I don't think that's fair. I think he was frustrated that he got taken out in that spot. And then when he came into the dugout, I mean, throwing shit and slamming shit, where I was like, that's interesting. I've never seen David Peterson show emotion like that. I've seen him kind of, like you said, get a little down, slump shoulders. I like to see a little fire from him.
And it's also a situation for Peterson where he knew his stuff was good on this night. It was just the command. And when you're a pitcher and your command isn't good, from a guy whose command is usually fine, at least I would say league average, you figure that's just an execution problem. Like there's something tiny with my mechanics. I clicked, I found it. I know I can get this guy. Like you don't want to be taken out. It's kind of demasculating.
And it's the second start in a row for him too where he's like, he wasn't as close as the last one, but like on the precipice of getting like that win per se.
Yeah, and I think that is something that still reigns important for a lot of these guys. But turned out to be the right move because Colin Holderman was able to get Mookie Betts out, and this led to a string of Mets relievers just simply handling the Dodgers. It wasn't exactly easy, and it wasn't that pretty, but Holderman, Ottavino, Chase and Shreve, Drew Smith for 2, Joely Rodriguez, and Seth Lugo.
Joely one pitch again, by the way.
Yes, one pitch. He does it every time, seemingly at least once a week. Those guys combined for 5 1/3 scoreless innings against this Dodger lineup.
Which is awesome.
Awesome. And when a decision like that is made and someone gets upset, you kind of hope it does. You kind of see that it has the potential to not spiral a locker room or a clubhouse, especially not a veteran locker room or clubhouse like this one, but it could piss people off and make people upset. It could have people second guessing or thinking otherwise. And it just showed that the right process bore the right results. And that is a big reason the Mets won these last 2 games.
How awesome is it, though? Like, this Mets bullpen, I feel like it's talked about so much, and it's so under a microscope. I mean, God forbid you see what Miguel Castro is doing, which he blew that Yankees game today, which is nice. Because, again, a lot of Mets fans I still think were like, where's Miguel Castro? I can't believe we don't have that guy.
It's a mid-reliever.
Which is crazy. Colin Holderman's better than, I think, Miguel Castro right now.
I think there's an argument to be made about that. I wouldn't say he's better than Miguel Castro right now. I think
I'm big on Holderman.
I think Holderman's really good, but they're like, you comparing Miguel Castro and Holderman, it's like comparing like tacos and like, I don't even know.
Burritos.
Like a root beer float.
No, it's not that
No,
different.
It is. They're both really good and they both have a different purpose. But Miguel Castro is like a 4-seamer with throws 97 with like a wipeout slider. Holderman is like sinker cutter, and he kind of hangs around, makes you swing and miss sometimes, but he's playing a lot of the soft contact game with high velocity. They're just such different types of relievers. Holderman stays around the zone. Miguel Castro is kind of higher risk, higher reward with the sliders, but also tons of walks. Like those guys are very different.
My point being, how nice is it that we get to have Colin Holderman, Ottavino, Shreve, Joely, like these guys come in as our back end of the bullpen, when even just last year we saw Jacob Barnes get some significant innings early on. We've seen guys like Daniel Zamora get innings early on, even before Paul Sewald figured out how to be good. He was terrible with the Mets. He was getting a lot of innings in the past. Like, it's really nice that this Mets bullpen, which is always a question mark amongst Mets fans, seems to be really solid.
It's also a situation where it seems like the narrative has kind of ran out like far past like the truth, because the Mets bullpen as a team has the 8th lowest bullpen ERA. The Mets as a team have the 9th lowest bullpen ERA in baseball.
It's pretty good.
Just behind the Rays and the Dodgers, two teams who I would say are smart and have good bullpens. So while it's not always that pretty, and while you kind of see the Mets are lacking that true second option, especially without Trevor May as he continues to rehab and get back from injury, this bullpen does tons and tons of things well. And I would say they, again, are an underrated group just because they happen to be the scapegoat for most of the Mets' losses. And they lack a second sexy option.
Oh, for sure. It's fun to make fun of the Mets bullpen because you've been doing it for the last 20 years if you're online or whatever.
Even with the 9th lowest ERA, the Mets have the second highest K rate of any bullpen in baseball.
Yeah, that's sick.
Like, this bullpen does a lot of things well, and they catch a lot of shit. And I do get it. If the Mets do want to go far, they're going to need a second option to either be acquired or emerge, because there could potentially be like a wealth of pitching options possibly could emerge at some point in the second half. I don't know from where. I don't know from how. I don't know why. Guys, I'm not going to say any names, but it's possible. Some guy even threw a bullpen session that was not talked about at all on Saturday, which is really cool. Shut the fuck up. Don't care. This Mets bullpen's been pitching really well right now, not getting the respect they deserve. Again, 9th lowest ERA, second highest strikeout rate. I don't know how to argue with any of those things from judging a bullpen's perspective. Both really good. Great work from them on Saturday to lock down this win.
Yep, especially because we got the insurance runs from another Alonso home run. Eduardo Escobar got on the board with a home run. The balls were flying. The Mets were on the receiving end.
An Escobomb.
It was good.
And you see the Mets play these games in the heat. Balls flying. Dodger Stadium, pretty easy, relatively parked to hit home runs out of. And the offense can get back after 2 bad games. The other thing, briefly, we should talk about the end of this game. Is Jeff McNeil.
Oh, yes. Yeah. We should bring that up. That in the 9th inning, we didn't even bring up the whole Zach McKinstry thing either.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
If this is what happens in the 4-game series, they got to stop giving us good things to talk about. We even talk about Max Scherzer getting bit by his dog.
Yeah. I mean, we shouldn't talk about that because as Max Scherzer said, it's a non-story. Because it is a non-story. He got bit by a dog. It's not a baseball injury. But Mike Puma, of all people, was out for blood on Saturday morning.
Well, he's a cat man, Mike Puma. That's why.
That makes sense.
Dogs
makes lots of sense.
He's anti-dog. I'm going to say that.
Anti-dog.
Mike Puma's anti-dog.
I wouldn't go that far. Hand to God.
But we forgot to talk about the Buck thing with the 9th inning with Zach McKinstry.
It was the 9th? Was it top of the 8th?
It was the top of the 9th.
Sure?
Yeah, it was the top of the 9th, for sure. Because the Dodgers threw in the white towel. Dave Roberts said...
5-run game.
Dave Roberts said, we're down 5. You guys win. Zach McKinstry's going to pitch. We don't want to use one of our bullpen arms. And Buck said, no. The rule is, if you're going to put in a position player to pitch, you have to be down by 6 or more runs. To my brain, I went... Wouldn't you want Zach McKinstry to pitch? We would seemingly get 1 or more runs off of it. But I think the idea was that
make him use this guy so he can't use him as much tomorrow.
Which we saw happen in Game 4 because Evan Phillips was supposed to pitch 2 innings in Game 4, but he was only able to pitch 1 because he had to be used in Game 3. So, Buck, a little bit of manager chess there.
Yes.
It ended up working out really well for us.
It did, but it led to one of the most bizarre baseball sequences ever because Dave Roberts didn't know the rule. I don't know if anybody knew this rule. Apparently, this rule was supposed to be put into play for 2020, and it got put on hold, and it finally actually became a codified rule at the beginning of this year. So not blaming anybody for not knowing this rule, but if you're a manager, you should know every single rule. That's literally your job.
So let me ask you this, and I don't think you're going to have the answer. If I'm up 15 runs in the last inning, can I put in Luis Guillorme to pitch if I'm up 15 runs? Or you have to be losing?
Oh, no, I think it's just a game that's over 6 runs of difference.
Okay.
I think that's the rule.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because it was a bizarre, odd thing. Didn't end up mattering, of course.
No, but it's so weird that this Dodger team with this lineup, you would think, why can't we score 5 runs?
I think there's also just a world where the Dodgers think, it was the middle-ish bottom of the order, right? Because I think they were also get 1 more.
Yeah.
If we have to score 5 instead or 6 or whatever it's going to be I think that arm was more valuable to them in Game 4, a game where they could still see themselves winning, where this one they're like, what? Smart guys, the Dodgers. Yeah, I'm sure the numbers say...
They're very smart people.
I'm sure the win probability is pretty
very
low.
We don't care. The bigger difference in our win probability, getting an extra inning out of our guy tomorrow. But There was also a situation now where like Gary, Keith, and Ron were losing their minds. They called it like a travesty. They said it was like one of the most embarrassing displays in baseball they could remember.
I think it is embarrassing for the game.
It's
of baseball.
definitely embarrassing, but I don't think it was like as egregious. I think it's embarrassing for Dave Roberts.
Yeah, for sure.
He botched, and he almost had to put one of his pitchers in a legitimately like dangerous situation to come in without warming up. That's how you breathe an injury.
Yeah, the umpire stepped in and were like, no. He's gonna get as
He
many
has to warm
throws
up.
as he
And there were
wants.
some Mets fans like annoyed about that, and I think that's kind of heartless because you're gonna give a player who has nothing to do with his decision a consequence for his manager being an idiot. Like that's kind of screwed up. It would have been more embarrassing if Zach McKinstry pitched and there was a notice from the league because someone would have tweeted. Jason Benetti, Mike Petriello, Jeremy Frank. Someone really smart would have found this and been like, "That's not allowed."
Jeremy Frank, I think, would have been all over that.
Probably the tweet queued.
Devin Fink.
Yeah, Devin Fink.
One of those guys would be all over it. But
Justin Choi.
Yeah, again, it didn't really end up mattering. Mets win this game 9-4. Easy peasy.
Also, not briefly mentioned, Jeff McNeil, after striking out in the ninth inning of an inning that took 20 minutes to start in a 5-run lead, he did the Jeff McNeil thing where he's not been hitting as well the last week as he was the week before, so I guess you can call it like a mini slump. Struck out, screamed to his helmet, kind of
slammed it.
Soft slam. Relative to Jeff McNeil's past, it was a half a slam. It was a really thorough place.
And he was taken out of the game.
Yes.
Shortly after that, and he did not come into the game in Game 4.
There were a lot of opportunities where the Mets could have used a left-handed pinch hitter.
And Jeff McNeil was not one of them. I do think this is Buck sending a little bit of a message.
I think so, too.
I don't know if there's any proof or truth to any of that.
Also a tough lefty on the mound, so there's a good chance McNeil, in a little bit of half of a slump, wouldn't have played anyway.
Yeah, especially because he had all year he hasn't hit lefties well. That's one thing he hasn't done. He's hitting like 360 against righties. Against lefties, not so much. But I do think this is Buck sending a little bit of a message because in a 9-4 game where the Mets are winning and playing well, that was a little bit of me before we.
Yes. Well, good one right there.
I know. I was around a baseball field this weekend. I heard a lot of cliches.
That's true. But I think there's also just when you have a veteran manager like Buck, he's like, I guarantee you, like, Buck wrote accountability on a whiteboard like February. You got to be accountable. Everyone's got to be accountable. And striking out there is not the time to have a tantrum.
No, but good win for the Mets. That ended up being the first win of the series. Of course, as we know, we split it. We'll briefly talk about game 1 and 2. Again, they were snooze fest. They were poop fest. They were not particularly good.
You see, I purposely did not write poop fest on these games because they weren't exactly poorly played games. Like, these were games that there were opportunities for the Mets to have made them more competitive than they were and possibly even win them.
Yeah.
It was just the fact that I think they kind of got bum rushed by playing against a team that both pitches well and plays defense well.
Well, yeah, after
I can't recall a team who's done both those things in weeks that we've played. The Braves, maybe. That was the beginning of May.
Not a long time. Mike Petriello, it even got him to write an article, right?
Yes.
After game 2, talking about how the Mets offense will struggle more against good teams, which I think everyone kind of knows. But that was smart Jay Journo right there by Mike Petriello, because that's an easy clicker if you're a Mets fan.
Mike Petriello's a big content guy. He's one of the best out there right now making baseball content.
Big Mike Petriello fans if he ever wants to come on the podcast. We know he's a secret Mets fan, so he can talk with us whenever he would like. But he was basically saying, like, yeah, when you play the Dodgers, they're smarter. They put guys in better positions. They're a better team. They have better pitchers with better fielding. It's going to be harder to get hits.
And it felt like there were so many plays in these first 2 games where you thought you had a fly ball in the gap or one that would have dropped in against the Nationals or the Giants or the Phillies, teams that are not very good defensively this year. And Chris Taylor was just there, or Cody Bellinger was just there.
Mookie Betts
was there. Gavin Lux. Like, these are guys who are good defenders at their positions all across the diamond. Trey Turner is the one who actually, hilariously, has not been that good of a defender this year, but he's generally at least slightly better than league average in the past. Same with Justin Turner, who can't really move anymore, but still has a gun for an arm. Balls were in play and they were making plays. Like, this is what good teams do, and we kind of got used to playing those bad defensive teams.
And to be fair, too, like Tony Gonsolin and Tyler Anderson both shut us down.
They're both on different levels right now. These guys, hilariously, the 2 best pitchers in the Dodgers over the last month plus.
Tyler Anderson being a guy you were begging the Mets to get this offseason.
Pleading with the Mets to get this offseason.
Go back, listen to the offseason episodes, guys. James was always saying Tyler Anderson. I'll admit, I went, ugh.
Tyler Anderson, Alex Cobb, 2 guys who would be welcome additions to the New York Mets right now. So keep that in mind. I also talked about Diekman, who's been one of the best relievers. I talked about Aaron Loup being overrated. True. I was kind of money with my pitching up. Kikuchi's actually been really good.
Yeah.
I've been catching these guys.
You're the pitching guy, I'm the hitting guy. That's how it works. Yin and yang.
But again, game 1, Mets were just shut down by Gonsolin. He is a good pitcher in the midst of a massive breakout. Didn't help that Lindor slammed his finger in his hotel door before, which is ironic. As Steve Cohen pointed out, Lindor, finger in a door in the name, if you guys got that one, LOL.
That feels like literally a month ago.
Yeah, right?
This has been all these 4-game series are always so incredibly long.
Also, 10 o'clock. They were just so happy that most of these days, the Mets were like the only 10 o'clock game. So even like staying up for these games, I was like, Okay, here we go. Almost ready.
Yeah, this series felt like forever ago. And that Lindor thing, that along with the Max Scherzer getting bit by the dog, there was a time where I was like, what is happening?
Too bad. Two right hands on the Mets got screwed up.
Yeah, luckily, I mean, we're all good, it sounds like. But yeah, Mets just didn't really hit. Got a few off of Brusdar, a couple good hit balls.
2 hits off Tony Gonsolin, 1 hit off Brusdar Graterol. 3 hits that were scattered in this game. No base runners in the 8th or 9th inning. This is traveling out west after a game the day before. Seems like they were just completely asleep, hence the snooze fest. And just got brief to talk about Taijuan because this was one of the most hilarious stats lines I've seen in a while. 5 2/3 innings pitched, only gave up 2 earned, 16 hard hit balls, 2 balls in play the whole game off Taijuan, under 90 miles an hour. Scary shit.
Hard hit merchant.
Hard hit merchant.
You showed me his baseball savant page. You're like, look at this. And it was all red with 1 bar of white and 1 bar of blue. I've never seen anything like that.
Thus being the balls in play in that game.
If you saw that, you would have said 10 runs.
And crazily, he didn't give up any runs before the lineup flipped for a 3rd time, which is that this is the thing. I've been saying this about Taijuan Walker for months now, basically since he came to the team last year. No runs through the first 4 innings, and he got through the beginning of the 5th. And then once Mookie Betts came up, he had an RBI, and then Justin Turner had one the next inning. And that's how he gave his 2 runs the 3rd time around the order. If the Mets had enough pitching depth right now, and they could commit to Taijuan Walker being a 3-4 inning guy, basically a 60-pitch guy who only sees orders twice, he'd be incredibly effective. He's so good the first couple times through the order.
They were talking about that on the broadcast, too. That is OPS just... The team OPS goes crazy high, like almost 900, 3rd time through the order. First 2 times, cash money.
And last Taijuan update, he again, 4-seam fastball, split change. Split change was really good. It was money. Diving out of the bottom of the zone enough. Even as a lot of these balls were hit hard, that was the pitch getting whiffs. His only pitch with multiple whiffs, and it had like 5, 6, 7, or 8. Can't remember the number right now, but that pitch looks really good. Playing off a 4-seamer that sits 94, 95-ish, touches 96 sometimes. That sounds like a really good repertoire for a 2 to 4 inning guy.
Oh, definitely. I think Taijuan... We'll reconsider when some guys come back, maybe.
What he's doing right now, though, is very important. The fact, again, only 2 earned runs in 5 2/3 innings. He did touch a 6th inning. Was important for the rest of the series. If the Mets would have taken him out early, I don't know if they would have won this game, and it might have cost them one of the later games. Yep. So everything building on top of each other still worked out, but just crazy that there were only 2 balls in play this whole game, 190 miles an hour. So, it's like being on a roller coaster.
I hit the ball 90 miles an hour.
There you go.
There was only 2 guys who hit the ball about as hard as me, which is crazy.
Jeez.
That was it for that game. They lost. You lose games.
Tony Gonsolin pitched really well.
The Dodgers are really good.
Dodgers
are a really good team. And after watching that game, and we mentioned it briefly a little bit earlier too, I watched it and went, man, they're just good. They're just a really good team, and they probably are better than us, let's be honest.
For sure. If you like on paper.
Yeah. But
I mean, power rankings, I think there's an argument for the Mets.
Higher winning percentage, because we know that matters and definitely has nothing to do with more games being played.
Just beat their 2 arguably most talented pitchers in back-to-back games.
With David Peterson and Trevor Williams on the mound for us. Those are our back-end guys. Those are our fill-ins for injuries.
It's Adonis Medina in a save opportunity, because why not?
Because you're former Pittsburgh Pirate, that's why.
Of course. And just got to run through game 2 real quickly here, because now we're just having too much fun. Major snooze fest. Tyler Anderson, shit. That stinks. He's throwing changeups. You couldn't even get close to touching them.
He's had good success against the Mets, too, in the past. Remember the Pirates game?
Yeah.
He's been great against the Mets.
I was like, these are like an 8-inning shutout or something?
Something like that. Hasn't he also hit a home run against the Mets, too? I think
he 100% hit a home run against the Mets last year.
I think he just owns the Mets.
Yeah.
I think it's just that simple.
All right, maybe it is. But also Bassett in this one wasn't his sharpest. Fell victim to the home run ball. Again, one of the easiest places to hit home runs in baseball. Gave one to Bellinger, one to McKinstry. And when you give up home runs to those 2 guys in this lineup, you just realize how deep this roster is. I mentioned that in the Dodgers preview last week. It's just, there's no second to breathe when Zach McKinstry's hitting home run against you at the bottom of the order.
Lineup is absolutely loaded. It is a long lineup. And it feels like every time you're like, he's up again? He's here again? How?
It's because once in a while, when your 7, 8, 9 hitters draw a walk or get a base hit, and it gets Mookie Betts up to the plate a batter sooner.
Yeah, they're unbelievable. Alonso got the home run.
Thank God. Broke the drought.
Which was nice.
Woke him up.
And then the Dodgers got some runs off of Joe Elliott and Negosic. I mean, they just beat us.
Yeah, you weren't going to win this game.
And this is when everyone thought the sky was falling. Well, I shouldn't say everyone.
Some people.
Some people thought the sky was falling.
Most people, at least for the first time, it felt like in a while in the media, were not like that. They were like, this is chill. Yeah,
proud
which is
of a lot
really
of
good.
Prominent Mets fans for not just jumping off the roof and saying the season's over.
We didn't check Salicata's Twitter.
We didn't check Salicata because why would you follow him?
He probably deleted it anyway.
Probably. We don't follow Frank. Which
No. He was freaking out, but you guys can't take Frank Fleming seriously.
That's his shtick. We all know what it is.
It's a shtick that's been purported, but I do think that's how he really feels.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that. I think he is, unfortunately, a miserable person.
Yeah, but there is a subsect of Mets fans who is completely lockstep with Frank Fleming.
Yeah, like, I'm sure he's a nice guy.
It's kind of like in the like European nations where there's like 7 political parties that get votes, and there winds up being like a plurality winner. See that one subsection of crazies get like 6% of the vote. Yeah. And if you were like splitting up the Mets fan base, like seeing what percent of the vote like the guys got, Frank Fleming would get a percentage of it.
He's content.
He is content, but there are Mets fans that think like that, and we can't get rid of him yet. But it was nice to see a lot of people be calm. Some people were not. Some people thought it was dead. Got some Twitter DMs. You guys know who you are. What can the Mets do to get on pace with the Dodgers? Like, who are we trading for? I was like, you guys got to watch the next couple games.
And to which we won.
Yeah.
And we got right on pace with the Dodgers. In fact, we're ahead of the pace of the Dodgers
yes.
here. We have a higher winning percentage, which means we're the better team, because that's never failed anyone
Right
before.
now.
Right now, at this exact moment, we are the best team in the National League. Something that I don't think a lot of people thought would happen this late in the season for the Mets. I don't think a lot of people would say this after the Dodgers series, losing the first 2. Colin Cowherd himself. What a fucking idiot that guy is. Let me roast him for a second.
I mean, I'm not going to call anybody who has the level of success that Colin Cowherd has an idiot. Colin Cowherd talks to himself about sports 4 hours a day and gets paid millions of dollars.
He is successful.
That guy's brilliant.
No, he's successful. I don't want to hear what he has to say about baseball. He's a baseball idiot.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, he tweeted out after they won Game 2. Mets Twitter was getting a little out of control. This Dodgers series was needed to restore some sanity. I'm sure Mets fans will handle it with grace and humility, to which I go, yep, big middle finger right to you. Sit and twist, whatever you want to say. And this is a new copy pasta, I think. I think every time the Dodgers lose or to the Mets or whatever it's going to be, I think this is the copy pasta.
If the Dodgers lose the next game they play, I'm going to tweet that.
Yeah, Mets Twitter was getting a little out of control.
Can you bookmark it and send it to me?
Yeah, I'm going to bookmark this right now. Because honestly, we'll leave it in the description somewhere of this episode so that you guys can also see it. I quote tweeted on my personal.
I might say like Fox Sports was getting a little out of control. this ESPN series, this NBA Final Series would need to restore some sanity. Oh, that's funny.
That's funny. Great ending to a series that could have gone really badly.
Shame for the Dodgers. What'd they go this week? 2-5?
They couldn't beat the Pirates.
Couldn't beat the Pirates or the Mets. And what their fan base was described as 2 worst teams in the NL.
Yeah. Oof.
I mean, again, the Mets are only hot early. We're only a third of the way through the season. We've only played more than the amount of games that the Dodgers played in the regular season. They won a championship.
What percentage World Series was that?
27%.
27%
of a World Series.
That's good. That's
more than most teams.
They have as much percentage as the Yankees have rings.
Exactly. Don't tell a Dodgers fan that.
Oh, no. I mean, imagine if they won the World Series against the Astros, too. Eesh.
Tough one. That was close. That was back and forth series. They also got bombarded by the Red Sox the year after that. They got
just sounds
mollywopped.
Just sounds like a team that really can't step up to the plate when it counts.
No, I mean, hey, the Dodgers are a team that usually do very good in the regular season against the bad teams. So once the going gets tough, they seem to fall apart.
You know that coming into this series, they had played majority under 500 teams. The Mets were one of the first legitimate good teams that they've played all year. And
I feel like those narratives only build against like the Mets, though.
Yeah, of course. But this is fun because now it builds against the Dodgers. They play a good team at home. Against Trevor Williams and David Peterson, they split.
But yeah, I mean, I don't want to keep talking shit about the Dodgers because I'm sure he's going to come back to bite us in the ass.
Oh, without a doubt.
It's going to be terrible.
It's going to be awful when it's the next time we play them and they take the first game and we're like, oh, shit.
Damn it.
We did it to ourselves.
But
we're feeling good. We're feeling great. The Mets just had a crazy, crazy win of Game 4 to split the series. And now we head to San Diego to play those Padres who just recently cut Robinson Cano. So it seems that maybe they're not as stupid as we once thought because they were playing that guy every day for a while, which was crazy.
Still a pen and pencil organization, though.
For sure not one of the smart ones. But
they're coming off 3 straight wins against the Brewers. His team is good. They're not great. They're just still not to be trifled with. And it's going to be another rock fight of a series to get through.
Yeah, and I really do think, like we talked about worst case scenario, right? We said 3-7 was our worst case. We got 2 right now.
Yes.
And I really do think we can take 2 from the Padres without batting an eye.
And the Angels have lost 11 games in a row.
Yeah, that team looks horrible.
They're really reeling right now. But this Padres series is going to start immediately. We're facing 3 very good starting pitchers. No off day again. The Mets are likely on their way to San Diego right now. It's the time we're recording this. They'll be there by the time you guys listen to this.
Definitely.
We were arguing before, and maybe you guys tweet us this. Do you guys think the Dodgers fly or bust to San Diego from LA?
And I think it has to be a fly.
I think so too, but that's like similar distance between like Philadelphia and New York, and the Mets usually take a bus to Philly.
Yeah, but it's just the traffic's just different.
The traffic between New York and Philadelphia is also usually not good.
The turnpike's all right.
It's usually all right, but you got to take a bus out of New York. Think about getting from Queens, like just getting a bus across the George Washington Bridge.
All right, yeah.
That is worse.
A nightmare.
That's insane. That's an insane thing to think about. And this, on a Sunday evening, you think the traffic on the PCA, the 405, you think it's really that bad?
I don't know. I'm sure Steve Cohen can close down the tunnel to get the Mets to go through or whatever it's got to be so that there's no traffic.
Pacific Coast Highway is gorgeous. Take a ride with the guys after a big win. But big pitching matchups in this series. Game 1, Monday night. Carlos Grasso versus Blake Snell. Snell's freshly off the IL. He is doing the Blake Snell thing where he's good and not good at the same time. Look for us to stack this lineup with righties because Blake Snell is significantly better against lefties than righties because he really just only has resorted to throwing fastballs and sliders. He's starting to mix a changeup back in again after he removed it from his repertoire last year because that pitch is kind of a Jekyll and Hyde for him. It goes back and forth, but going to be interesting to see what we can do against him. Very patient team. I feel like we'll be able to get to him. Tuesday night, Taijuan Walker versus Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish habitually just destroys the Mets.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how much he's struggling, he will figure it out for this game.
Get right game for Yu Darvish as usual. And then Wednesday in another night game, which we're going to be grinding and get you guys a podcast after that one. Chris Bassett versus Sean Manaea in a game of two wily vets who came from the Oakland A's in the same offseason. It's going to be a good day for them, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. Fun fact about the Padres, 23rd in shifts this year.
I like that for a team like the Mets that puts the ball in play.
Mets put the ball in play. We saw that whole article about teams not playing the Mets smart. Seems like the Padres don't really play that smart.
And even if a team like the Padres, who I think is modernizing relatively to years past,
they're great at prospects.
They're great at prospects, and they're great at acquiring ready-made starting pitchers. Like, they just pulled as many starting pitchers as they could who were already good, or like, we got to get you good.
Which is why they're good right now.
Yeah, and they hired, I forgot his first name, I think Ruben Niebla, who was a pitching coach in Cleveland for a long time, who people have had rave reviews about, and the Guardians, we know, are not a pen and pencil team. That team uses ample amounts of data.
They also have Manny Machado, who's playing like an MVP.
Yeah, Manny Machado's incredible. Jake Cronenworth's annoying as shit. Who else even good in that route? Trent Grisham looks terrible.
Yeah, I'm sure Eric Hosmer will be annoying just because that's who he is.
Jurickson Profar is actually playing well. He has the plate discipline. He's actually finally married it with power. His barrel rate is significantly higher than before in his career. He's at a point where it might be kind of stable. He looks good. Taylor Rogers has been struggling, but I do think he is still really good.
Is their bullpen good?
Kind of. I mean, Luis Garcia, their setup man, is quite good. Nick Martinez is now pitching in a hybrid role out of the rotation and the bullpen. He has looked decent overall. We're missing Mackenzie Gore, who's a world beater.
That's awesome, yeah.
Thank God we're missing him. He looks incredible right now. But otherwise, in that bullpen, they still have Stammen, who I don't know if Craig Stammen's any good.
I feel like the Mets always hit Craig Stammen.
Pierce Johnson might still be there.
Throws a lot of sliders.
Yeah, like this team, they have a collection of good players, but they don't always put them in the best opportunities to succeed.
I think the Mets are a better team than the Padres.
I think the Mets are a better run team.
Should win the series, but it's going to be close. It was close last year against them, even though we took the games from them.
And you could argue the Mets kind of might have a pitching disadvantage in every game. Not really strong between Carrasco, Snell, Bassett, Manaea. Those are kind of close, especially Bassett, Manaea. You could argue Chris Bassett is probably better than Sean Manaea.
Yeah.
Sean Manaea has looked really good this year, but they're throwing 3 starting pitchers out there with some legit pedigree, and let's play some baseball.
Also nice that we missed Joe Musgrove because he's sick.
Yeah, he's sick. He hasn't been as good this year as he was last year. Results are still good, but the fastball's not been as good. But yeah, we're arguably missing the Padres' 2 best starting pitchers.
Which is okay. I'm cool with
very
that.
good.
I'm
Yeah,
cool with
it's
that.
great.
Go out, win another series like the Mets have done all year long.
And Taylor Rogers, I think, might have pitched 3 days in a row for these guys, or maybe at least the last 2, because he definitely blew a save. It may have been one or other. He definitely pitched on Sunday, and he blew another save this weekend. I remember because I bet them and I was mad, and I had him in fantasy. No, actually, I bet he blew a save last Saturday against the Pirates, and I bet them and I was mad.
Man, the Pirates have really been killing you.
Killing me. The Pirates have cost me hundreds of dollars. I'm not going to say that. Pirates have cost me a couple of bets in the last week. It was very annoying. Had a great hot finish of the weekend.
Hot finish.
Just like the Mets.
The boys bought tickets to the Rangers game 5 as well.
Yes.
So if you're going to be at that game,
we
will be
hit
there.
us up.
We will be indulging in some adult beverages as well.
We're recording another podcast before then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. All right, well, we'll talk about that in the next one, too. We'll remind you guys. Thank you so much, though, for listening to this episode here. Episode number 98 of the Mets'd podcast.
Getting close to 100.
Getting close to 100. Maybe some big news coming out of 100. Who knows?
You can't keep saying that.
I'm going to keep teasing it until it comes out. We're so close. But yeah, presented by the 7 Line. Thanks for listening and watching. Follow us on all our social media at Mets'd. YouTube channel, Mets'd Podcast, if you want to watch the video version of this. If you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen, drop us a rating, drop us a review, follow, subscribe, download, do it all. It really does help us out. Follow James on Twitter at JeterHadNoRange.
Might be one of the last times. Yep. That's my handle to follow.
Follow me at GiraffeNeckMark. And that's where we'll wrap it up, guys. We'll see you after the San Diego Padres series. Peace out.
Peace out. See you guys next time.